Yeah, the morning time. Morning time, not spooky time, just morning time. Yeah. Yeah. Morning time, nice time. Chant a little rounds, because you don't want to get involved so much in this contamination of the phone. So, okay. Um, Pretty well know all the contamination. Um, this planet, this I don't know all the other planets, but this planet goes through a cycle. Actually, if you examine something, nature has a cycle with everything. Obvious cycles like the ladies' cycle, but the men's cycle isn't so obvious, but it's also there. The men's cycle is exactly like the woman's cycle, but it's a 24-hour cycle. So all the, what do you call it? Mind swings, the mind swings during the day appear within the man body. And it also appears in the lady's body, but in 28 days. You could say the sun is controlling one and the moon is controlling the other. That's just from what I could understand. So it's all there. So there's so many cycles, so many incredible cycles. But one cycle we're going through right now, and it's getting at its bad stage, a stage where it can do damage to humanity. Doesn't mean that it will or it has to, but it can do damage to humanity if the people don't become aware of it. And I'll see if I can, when I do the video, I'll try to put a link, because there's a video out. The videos, man, you get tired of all these things. But they do give us a little bit of guidance. Yeah, and it is a little necessary. So there's a video out. It talks about the founders, the people that came up with her, they were revealed so many things about AI. They became enthused, they became inspired, so many ways. Okay, so these are the founders. These are the men that are making huge amounts of money, not just small. Some people think, this AI and everything, they're not seeing how much it's going to, like, sap what we need as humans. It's going to, they have large buildings, and the large building, a whole floor is nothing but computers. A whole floor. To be able to cool all this down, a lot of water has to be used. So they know this. So if they have a plan that, okay, we need a machine in this location, another machine in this location, they're trying to trap the water. They're taking it out of the people's hands. We need this because it's more important than you. Yeah. We need this because it's more important than your life. They're making the decision like that. Nowadays, if in some places, if it's raining, it's not your water. You can't collect it. In other places, they get a little bit more normalized, And they're saying, oh, once the water goes, Texas for sure, once the water goes into the ground, it's no longer yours. Even if it's on your property or anything like that, it's not your water. We have to have it. And they come out with, we don't want you cornering water. It's for all the people. But actually, it's not. They want the water for their program of different places to put this AI up. They need it. It won't exist without a good flow of water. So these personalities that have made these huge computers and immense and intricate computers, they're disappearing. So you begin to wonder, are they disappearing because they're being killed or what? You take a minute of thinking, like, how could they just disappear? But their whole existence is disappearing. In other words, anything that they have, like contact that they would need, they're also disappearing, like their wife, their children, this, that, and the other. So it comes out like, wait a minute, this is strange. They are the founders of AI. They know how to come out of the grips of AI, where AI cannot understand where they are, cannot understand what they're doing, what they're thinking, what this, what that. So, collecting the memoirs of what they could of some of these people, they're like astrologers, they're because they're just following what is happening, and what is happening is normal. Some people want to dominate the realm of AI. And if somebody dominates, other people are enslaved. So they want to be the dominator because they can see the power of AI. So their conclusion was that in 2027, AI will get out of control. And in that, the few will control the masses. So that is like a progression, a progression that they're coming to. And this cycle, somebody would say, okay, it's just happened now. No, it's a cycle within a cycle. And probably another cycle and another cycle. There's just so much layers. So this cycle has come and gone and come and gone. And the inspiration for it to even begin is when electricity comes into use. Yes, electricity gives the ability of people to do something that their body is limited of. They can't do something. But now, with the power of electricity, I can do something. I can manufacture something. It's just so many things they spring out of electricity. Now, there's somebody inspiring so that it will kick off. And if you look at the elements chart, the charts of all the elements and everything, and it's so well balanced and everything, and how they figure it out and everything, well, that was inspired into somebody. And he puts all the elements down in the way that it was inspired. He did not come up with that. It was inspired. He saw it, he wrote it down, and he presented it to the world. Seeing that and seeing other inspirations, we can see that there's no ability of the human to figure some things out. So something or somebody is there, okay, you should put this here and you should put that there, here. And there's so many cases of this. Or the person just like trips over the solution. All of a sudden the solution of something is right before them. So these cycles, they need that support. So there is other things that are supporting this cycle. It's not that the human being is so smart that he's able to develop this whole cycle of electricity from just, one light bulb all the way to, AI controlling your mind. No, it's not like that. There is inspiration that's coming. Inspiration that's coming to lead you to that point. So, in this AI, the human factor is like not being neglected. It's like being thrown out. That's it. It's like throw it out. You got to get rid of it. So whatever gives you power, whatever gives you might, it's all right. You go ahead and do it. That's the consensus of the people on the higher up. Actually, I have to have this power so that I can do this for humanity or for the world, but actually it's how I can fill my pockets. So in this, one of the biggest thing is the like abruptly killing children. But not only that, it's like stages of torture of children. And even like like taking data of the torture, how the child is being tortured, what's happening in his existence and everything. They're putting this down into their AI and everything. All this is like being studied, and a child is born and he's already part of it. And they can, from their seat, they can see if the child is born with a really strong will to be a human, or he has a suicidal. He has a suicidal, because this is the best child, a suicidal. So, so they put him to, and you have to be really patient, because the development of the consciousness of a living entity is not quick. The different stages of development of consciousness, like moving your fingers, walking, talking, this, that, and the other, is not from one day to the next, So they really have got these children on observation, and they're seeing how they develop and what they can do to get them to different stages. One stage is that the child feels like, that they're going to kill me. 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 And it is not let down. They're going to kill me. Sometimes it's just like a brutal one. You get the kid and you take him out into the backyard, and you tell him you're going to shoot him. And he's better run fast, or else he's going to lose his life. So that's a real brutal one. And then when the kid just is totally up in that stage of anxiety, there's a point where the child gives up. And like this inner thought comes and says, better I get out of this body. Better I just get out of this body. So at that point, they kill him. And all these thoughts are within the blood. And so the best blood is that blood where he's gone through the 2 stages of anxiety. Of course, there's probably so many stages, but these are the ones that they're detecting and making some importance about. Yeah. So now, being devotees and knowing the Bhagavatam and everything, we want to see some aspect of this. What's going on, and how does Krishna take this, and what is his input, output for all this. So you can, and I hope I'm not being, it's hard not to be offensive when you don't know what you're, because it's not like I'm reading about it. It's that you don't know if what you're thinking is on track. There may be some, difference. There may be, so, but we'll continue. Put myself at, put the hangman's noose around my neck. Okay, so so here it is. If we were to compare the Srimad Bhagavatam and try to find out what is Krishna's feeling about this, we come to a chapter where Brahma, the creator of the world, he steals Krishna's friends, and thousands of them. He steals all the cows, he steals all the friends, and hides them someplace like in a cave. And of course, he's just gone for a moment's time, but it's a year that passes. So of course, the Leela is that Krishna continues his pastimes. He expands himself into all the cows and all the cowherd boys. And that part is beautiful. But he made it beautiful. It didn't really have to happen. It was like an unplanned. You can't go around, I can't go around saying it wasn't Yogamaya. But I take the risk of saying that it wasn't Yogamaya because Krishna wasn't pleased. And he definitely showed that he wasn't pleased. Hope you get grasping it. Krishna was not pleased. Now Krishna, he was sitting, when Brahma all of a sudden wants to see where the cowherd boys were, and he sees the duplicates, and he sees all the Krishnas, and and he actually doesn't know the duplicates are Krishna, and then Krishna turns all these duplicates into 4-handed Vishnu forms, and he says, "Oh my Lord, you have expanded them perfectly," and then it clicks on him. Only up to that point does it really click on him, because he's thinking he's punishing a child. What's wrong with him? He's punishing a child that's only maybe 8. Well, let's see. 7 years old, you take out the calves, and then the next year you take out the cows. So he's about 8 or 9, about 8 or 9. But in his culture, he's 1.5 times, developed. He's 1.5 times more developed than what a child would be now. So let's say 9. Of course, half of 9, 4, 4.5. Okay, so he's about 14 years old. So he's tending to the cows, and, so here we see Krishna has expanded. So it's debatable, and I take the side that it wasn't Yogamaya. Because when Brahma was doing the creation and everything, and he was actually, prayers of Brahma for creative potency, prayers of Brahma for creative potency. He's like trying to see how he's going to do all his job, He has to be reminded, the living entity. Brahma's a living entity. He has to be reminded, which is not unusual. Living entities, we forget and everything, especially if we go through a time of difficulty. So after Brahma wakes up from his slumber, his sleep, and he has to recreate, so the blueprints are there and everything. It's easy. It's not that difficult for him. But still, he prays for the potency to do it. So when he was praying, all of a sudden, Krishna, he makes himself more apparent. It may be that Krishna appeared as a cowherd boy. I can't tell you, but he did appear to him. And he told Brahma that in your lifetime you will see me again. He didn't say when or how or everything, but he did tell him. He says, you're going to see me again, So here is the, Brahma is 50 years old. 50 years old. He's getting up in age, He's over 50 years old, actually. So he's really moving on. So now, here Brahma has been told by Krishna that you will see me in your lifetime. Oh. So Brahma takes note of this child that is so beautiful and everything, and he becomes bewildered. And from my perspective, nothing to do with Yogamaya. The bewilderment wasn't from Yogamaya. The bewilderment was from his own concoction. And why do I say that? Because Krishna was not really pleased. Krishna, he was sitting there with a smile and laughing because it was foolish. That's a normal thing to do, when some person who's so advanced all of a sudden does a foolish thing, you just have to sit back and laugh about it. So he wasn't going to take any real serious action against Brahma or anything like that, but he was not pleased. And there's an undertone there, and the undertone was, Brahma, get out of here. I'm doing my leelas, and I don't want an interruption. So he's just pretty clear, is telling him, get lost. But this is his master. Brahma realizes it. Oh, this is my master. This is the person I prayed to for the power for creation. And I didn't recognize him. So, not Yogamaya. We can't just start putting stamps on everything. So one would say, my gosh, what's going on? But Brahma, although, so much time has lapsed, when it comes for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come, he's praying. He's praying that he can be part of that. And he prayed really intense. So we have the Rudra Sampradaya. We have the Sri Sampradaya. We have the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Leaving one out. Okay, but what the important point is that here it is. Brahma, such an intense mood of, I made a mistake, that he wants to come no matter what he has to happen to him. So he comes as Haridas Thakur. He's dragged in 21 marketplaces and beaten by the Muslims. He's thrown into the river, and then he becomes revived, and he keeps on chanting. So he is the emblem of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So that's why we are the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did go, and he was with the Madhvacharya Sampradaya in the midst of them, he did make a comment that, oh, this is your manner of seeing the energy and the creation, but my manner of seeing is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. So he made some distinction, but it's not that they're not in our line. So my Adi Guru, Brahma, yes, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. The Gaudiya Sampradaya has been protected by Brahma now. So, what is the reason I'm talking about this? Because of all things that the humans can do to each other, and, and of all the pastimes that have happened, in relationship to Krishna, the pastimes of, like hurting children, we're not totally innocent, but we're unknowing. We haven't developed our consciousness, when we're a child, so we're unknowingly doing things. So at that point of life, if some damage is done to that child, it's like the worst thing that could be done. I mean, that you're supposed to take care of the brahmanas, the older people, the ladies, and the children, and the cows, and this, but of all of them, doing damage to children is like the most difficult for Krishna to forgive. Most difficult. Most difficult for Krishna to forgive that one. Just by looking at his reaction with Brahma. Okay, you made a mistake, but just get your stuff and get out of here. let me do my pastimes, you know. And Brahma just falling at his feet and crying and, please forgive me and this, that, and the other. He's not taking recognition right away. He's not changing his attitude. So he's really staunchly standing. You hurt children, you will suffer. If you hurt children, you will suffer. And if you hurt children, very difficult for him to forgive. Very difficult. So that's where the AI and everything has taken us, that these personalities are trying to impose this AI and everything. And of course, the child molesting, child killing, is like a support of it. Like a support of it. Like supporting all this. So, what can I do? Like somebody asked me last night, what can I do? Well, go out and see a child and just try to understand how a child is. We all went through the same thing, and just see what can be done to comfort that child. Even if it's one child, even if it's two child, just single, even if you're single, unmarried and everything like that, still just exchange with a child. And pray deeply that Krishna helps these children. We can't stop these personalities. And it's a cycle. It will get to a peak and it will collapse. So we can't stop this cycle. But we can surely show Krishna that we are concerned. Oh, I can't do anything about it. I don't want to hear about it. It just bothers me. No, you can certainly do something. You have to go out and take a orphan kid and put him through school and everything like that. No, just exchange feelings with them. Just become like conscious of what's going to happen to them. Yeah. The AI is so incredible that some children are already marked as good production in the killing process. Good production in the killing process. They're already marked from birth because they know how the development of the child will be. And that child, they have more observation on. They're observing it, so it's like, time to harvest him. They say like that, harvest him. So terminologies are really gross, with no feelings at all. So we can't ask Krishna that. Look for the good side of these people or something like that. No. This one is when Brahma left, he was feeling he wasn't forgiven. No matter what Brahma was doing, he was feeling like, I haven't been forgiven. I have to do some other penance. Something I have to do to be given forgiveness. So it's a very It's like the most wicked thing that can be happening. So when I was talking to my friend, I just told him, let Krishna do whatever he wants to do because he has to do it. Don't stand in his way. If you're part of the bomb that you get blown up, what can you do? But he has to stop this. Yeah, he has to stop this. When he'll stop it, no one knows. But you have to be ready to give up this phone. Yeah, you got to be ready to give up this phone because it's the power of electricity in the person's hand. You know, Edison, I'm an Edison Electric, Edison Electric Company. Look where they're situated. They're right off the Hudson. And Edison Electric Company set up the Twin Towers to blow up. That was a whole setup. So they're Edison. And they killed, over 1,000 workers, personalities, gone in a few seconds. And then their supporters are just dancing in the street of how amazing it was. So I got the power of electricity. No, it's intoxicating. It's intoxicating, and they think they can replace everybody and everything. In electricity, I can replace this emotion and that emotion and this emotion and that emotion. I can replace them, and I'm in control of the emotions. Your emotions, I can control. I have this power and that power and everything. So it has to go. That's all there is to it. It has to be taken out. So that's an obvious, because it's too much out of control. And you want Krishna to take quick action, It's just too much out of control. Too much out of control. And even in the AI sector, they're disappearing. So one with intelligence goes, how can I disappear? They have completely disappeared, and they didn't disappear from their money. They have protected their whole family, and they know what's going to happen. How can I disappear? What is called a Faraday cage can at least help out. A Faraday cage blocks their ability to see you, blocks their ability to manipulate you and everything, because they are only in control because of electricity. And the Faraday cage, it absorbs their electricity, and they don't see you. They don't recognize you. So even if you come out for a second, they can't recalculate. You're gone. Something happened to you. You're out of the system. So in a smaller manner, there's a Faraday cage that you can wear. Yeah. Faraday cage that one can wear. That may not block everything, because your clothes don't block your face or anything like that, but it blocks more than 90% of your existence. Very simple process. And not that much expensive. It's copper oxide nanoparticles, and they're producing them. Copper oxide nanoparticles. And you just take your cloth, put the nanoparticles in the water, little warm. They recommend a little salt. Now, I know that they do chemical binders, but the chemical binders, I am like avoiding the chemical binders, because you can do, and they state you can do from 25 to 50 industrial washings, and it won't come out. So my washing my hands not going to take it out. I take my cloth, I take the nanoparticles, I dip them in, let them set, then take it out. If you do 50 grams, 50 grams of these nanoparticles, those 50 grams can do about 100 yards of cloth or more. So that water, don't throw it out. It can be used for other cloth. And of course, we're not, doing an experiment and measuring it and then seeing if the Faraday effect is there or anything like that. It's too much involved. But if these copper particles are there, Faraday cage is only copper mesh. That's it. You can do with other metals and everything, but it's copper mesh. So this at least will help. And other personalities who have more money at hand, they can do even more with these copper nanoparticles. Very small particles. And they don't dissolve in the water, but they do cling to, I don't like polyester and everything, but they cling to polyester and everything easier than they do cotton, but I do cotton. Okay, I'll leave you like that. So I brought you all the way up to, I think you better take some action. One action is try to exchange with children. Because some of us, I don't have a son, daughter, or anything like that. So, but many are like blessed that they have their own children and they can exchange with them and protect them. Okay. So please, think about it. It's a cycle that I don't know if we can avoid it, because it's really out of hand. Not just a little bit out of hand, it's really out of hand. So don't know if you can change anything, but at least have the ability, or try to change something. And just around your own self, try to see that the children have their time for playing. The children have something that's sweet, and yeah, kids go nuts about sweets. Okay, yeah, I'll leave you at that, and hopefully it can be a little bit arrested and suppressed and everything, so it doesn't become so wild. But the prediction of the big guys that are making it, first they're declaring that a very big maluse of AI will happen, which means they're going to try to control everybody. And hopefully they can get over that and use it in the correct manner. But the maluse is going to come first in the hands of, like people that aren't even qualified for anything. Yeah, people who aren't qualified for anything. You can't even blame them because they aren't qualified for anything. But it's going to be in their hand, and they're going to use it in the very bad way. So prepare yourselves. And I'm not a predictor or anything, but this is just a cycle. And don't think it's a cycle that hasn't happened hundreds of times. And the earth has existed through it. But it shows why, and this is important, it shows why all of a sudden a civilization is hidden. And it takes so much difficulty to find how that civilization was. Oh, study the DNA, study the, in what part of the world they were, and what were their constructions, and all these things. But they did have advanced civilizations. So many flying objects, that's flying and observing the earth and everything, and all of a sudden it's gone. So it isn't that it's like happened only once. It's a civilization, and it's a total earth civilization, not just a part of the earth, but it's a total earth civilization that's under the drags. The whole civilization. I told my friend, I don't want to stop Krishna. Just let him do what he feels like he should do. Just let him clear this out quick. Let him have his hand free to do whatever he wants to do. Because it's not a positive situation at all. Okay, I leave you at that. Haribol.